Okay, so let's begin, shall we? So I think we should start with some introductions. My name is Alexander, and I work for Laude. And for the past few years, I've been working on Web3 matters. This includes blockchain domains, keeping up to date with NFTs, and I also spend quite a bit of time in the metaverse. And so obviously to do these tasks I've needed to use crypto wallets. So in that sense, I'm happy to share everything I've learned.
Thanks, Alexander. Yeah, my name's Tom. I work at Stobbs IP. I've been here for just over 2 years now, and my background is primarily online brand enforcement. So I work in the online brand enforcement team at Stobbs, primarily with Web2, covering marketplaces, domains, social media, and as a similar time frame to Alexander, in the Web3 space. So thinking about Web3 enforcement and then registration of blockchain domain names, among a
Great, so thanks for that, Tom. I think we should crack on. So the first, most obvious question to answer, what are crypto wallets? Now, somewhat confusingly, the first thing I should say on this topic is that crypto wallets don't operate the same way as physical wallets do holding cash. What I mean by that is the digital assets that are held on a crypto wallet aren't technically inside your wallet. They're all held on the blockchain. What the wallet does is authenticate your ownership of them and enable you to kind of transact with them. So now I've kind of explained that bit. What actually constitute crypto wallets then, if that's the case? Well, essentially they're made up of two things, the public and the private key. The public key is a long cryptographic code, normally at least 25 characters, sometimes more. Now this is your wallet identifier. It's essentially your address, and it enables other users to interact with you on Web3. The private key, on the other hand, is essentially a very long password. Quite often they're long random words in a specific sequence, so it might be 12 words that have to be entered in a specific sequence. So that's what a private key is, and every time you want to do a transaction on Web3, you have to enter your private key. So now we've spoken about what crypto wallets are, we'll move on to why they're so important. So simply, crypto wallets are how you interact with Web3. We'll go into more detail later in the presentation into the specifics of this, but you can't trade cryptocurrency, NFTs, you can't register blockchain domains, you can't access metaverses. They're very central to how Web3 works. So, you know, from a brand's perspective, cryptocurrency, NFTs, blockchain domains, all of these are stored on the blockchain, and without a crypto wallet you can't take ownership of these assets. So now moving on, what are the different types of wallets? So one of the key ways you can distinguish between wallets is whether they're hot or cold. Now a hot wallet is a wallet stored on a cloud, which means it's always connected to the internet. Because it's connected to the internet, it means your public key is online. Your private key is always online in theory, which means that hackers do have an opportunity that they wouldn't have with a cold wallet. Cold wallets, on the other hand, are only connected to the internet when they're plugged into your device. So they come in the form of a hardware device like a USB stick. Now, the main difference between the two is a hot wallet is more convenient and a cold wallet is more secure. So it kind of rather depends on the kind of use you're trying to get out of your wallet. If you're using your wallet multiple times every day to make lots of transactions, you possibly be more well advised to use a hot wallet than a cold wallet. Whereas if you're using a cold wallet to store large amounts of cryptocurrency, you're probably better advised to use a cold wallet, because it's not something you need to be fiddling around with on a daily basis. One example I found was from a man in Wales who had lost his private key, which meant that he lost access to about £250 million worth of Bitcoin. So that's the risk if you're using a cold wallet. If you actually lose the physical wallet itself, it's impossible to access. Now I'll just quickly go on to talk about another different types of wallet slide. This is custodial or non-custodial. Custodial wallets are nearly always hot wallets. What that means is you're outsourcing the private key of your wallet to an online platform. So this means that every time you enter your private key, or you want to make a transaction, the cloud itself will fill it in for you, so you don't have to copy and paste it, or get out a piece of paper from a safe and do it by manually every single time. Non-custodial, on the other hand, is it can be a hot wallet, but it's nearly always a cold one. And in this case, you have to enter your private key every single time. And again, much like with hot wallets and cold wallets, the trade-off is between convenience and security. So, again, it depends on the kind of usage you're looking to get out of your wallet, to decide on which type of custodial or non-custodial wallet you're going to use. Now I've explained kind of what wallets are and what the different types of wallets are. I'll explain how you actually set one up. So the example I'm going to use now is MetaMask. This is because it's a pretty popular wallet, quite mainstream in the Web3 world. It has a pretty user-friendly user interface. So if you're a beginner and you're setting up a hot wallet, this might very well be the one you choose, but others are available, of course. It's a very simple process. You go to MetaMask website, you download a browser extension. The first time you do it, it will give you a short password that you need to fill in for yourself. So this is something you have to decide. You'd be advised to store this password safely as well. Once you've filled in the short password of your choosing, you're given your private key, which is a random 12 words in sequence. Needless to say, it's vital that you don't forget what this private key is, or you lose access to your wallet. So you can store it in a password manager or offline in a kind of physically secure location like a safe. So yeah, that's how you set up a wallet. It's very simple, especially with hot wallets. So how do you actually use wallets? So I've divided it into kind of 4 sections. Cryptocurrency, of course, this might be, one of the first things you've heard about of Web3 was kind of the Bitcoin craze, and how volatile the prices have been. So you can speculate in cryptocurrency. That's a very common use of crypto wallets. Or you can make some retail purchases. I mean, there are some people that accept money in crypto, but that's still very niche. I mean, I even came across someone who bought a house in Lisbon using only Bitcoin. So far, those sorts of purchases in the real world don't tend to take place with cryptocurrency. The next section I've divided it into is artwork NFTs. So if you're kind of buying and trading Bored Apes, or one of the more popular NFT kind of programs, then you'll need a crypto wallet to do that. These crypto wallets will connect to decentralized apps like OpenSea, Mintable, and Rarible, these NFT platforms. So it's easy for you to kind of buy and sell them and move them between different people. I've included blockchain domains as its own category, even though technically speaking, blockchain domains are also NFTs. But I think it makes sense to separate them in this instance. So what can you do with blockchain domains? if you're an individual looking to create a digital identity, you can use blockchain domains to buy a name, and then you essentially replace your public key with that blockchain domain. So instead of being, a 30-string cryptographic code, you could be, whatever your name is in real life, .eth, and that can be your public key, so people can identify who you are. You can also, if you're a company, from a corporate point of view, buy the blockchain domains that correspond with your key trademarks. So, that's, a pretty obvious use for people wanting to use them for a corporate environment. And finally, the last key use is metaverses. Nearly all metaverses, you need crypto wallets to access them, and all of them you need a crypto wallet to access the full version. And once you're within metaverses, if you want to invest in digital real estate or rent land off someone else or rent it to someone else, for all of these things you need a wallet. And you can also buy kind of items within these worlds using your crypto wallet as well. So, very quickly, those are the key uses for a crypto wallet. And I believe the next slide I'd pass on to you, Tom.
Thanks, Alexander. And I think, those first couple of slides, so talking about what a wallet is, the general setup, and also the use cases are a great primer for the slides to come. First off, talking about operational best practices more generally, I think the first thing we have to think about is the decentralization aspect of wallets compared to legacy tech with much more of a centralized governance. Decentralization obviously means greater control for the company or the individual in control of that wallet, but also means an increased risk. So when we're thinking about transactions with wallets, very much we need an upskill within the business or upskill of individuals around transactions with wallets. So thinking about those use cases that Alexander made with the metaverse, blockchain domains, and cryptocurrency, understanding what these transactions are, reading those transactions, such as the image on the right-hand side there with a what's known as a blind sign. Understanding what you see is what you sign is very key here. We've also split these operational best practices into 3 segments, so purpose, access, and storage. These will overlap with previous slides that Alexander has been talking about. So purpose being what is the wallet used for? Very much wallet discipline, so thinking about those hot and cold custodial, self-custodial wallets, thinking about the date, whether we're using them for daily trades or exchanges, interacting with blockchains or decentralized applications on a daily basis. We'd like to think that hot wallets are the best route here, the best option. Cold wallets, on the other hand, perhaps used for more long-term storage, less interaction with dApps and blockchains. Mainly being the use of cold wallets on a regular basis may expose these wallet addresses to public ledgers, and it may invite bad actors to research these wallets and consider some kind of phishing or malicious actions against those wallet addresses and the owners. Access, so who uses the wallet? This links back to the purpose, of course. We might be thinking about a VP or director within a large corporation, multiple VP and directors having access to the cold wallet. This will be through what is known as a multi-signature or multi-sig wallet. Alternatively, the daily wallet or hot wallet may be used by executives or regular colleagues or a close-knit team within the business. So having a think about that is crucial. And then storage as well. So thinking about, again, who is in control of the passwords and where do you store these passwords. So as Alexander covered, we've got a sliding scale here of password managers on the cloud versus all the way up to the very top with passwords and seed phrases engraved within pieces of metal or stored within safety deposit boxes. This will obviously depend upon the individual or upon the company and how they approach this. Yeah, moving on to wallet considerations and implications for corporations. Again, this will overlap slightly with the operational best practices. Sort of think that the purpose, access, and storage that we covered is the necessary foundation and also framework for considerations and implications. So thinking about what type of asset the company is storing, this will obviously depend what kind of Web3 initiative that the company has. If they're storing crypto or storing NFTs, engaging with a metaverse, also depends upon the blockchain that they're using. So perhaps Ethereum, Solana, or Polygon, or others perhaps. Which wallet is the best, or which has the best compatibility for that blockchain? Thinking about who controls the wallet, again linking back to the purpose, access, and storage function. As discussed in the operational best practices, companies may have a delegated function for this kind of work, so perhaps legal, IT, or marketing, or perhaps not. And I think the purpose of this webinar is also to encourage a conversation within corporations or businesses around this area, and maybe perhaps preparing for developments within Web3 in future. Finding a delegated function also helps with potential bottlenecking in the future as well. Understanding that there is a delegated function for this kind of work allows for work to flow and for the transaction to go ahead very smoothly. Again, covering sort of the types of wallets, linking back to the best practices, hot and cold, multi-sig. As you can see on the right hand side, an image there from Gnosis Safe, a multi-sig application. So obviously spreading the risk and spreading the responsibility amongst VPs or directors or key stakeholders in the business, allowing them to have a segment of that key, that seed phrase, to then access the wallet and approve transactions. Then some issues to consider around wallets and the implications for corporations. Staff absences and departures. This links back to the type of wallet. We'd most likely want to go for a multi-sig to hedge against that staff absence or departure scenario. Thinking about if a key colleague left the business, how are you going to approach the method of recovery of that seed phrase? This will also have an impact on some due diligence around contracts and liability for employees. And then I think generally we just need to raise awareness to cybersecurity teams within the corporations to either upskill or to engage with them and try to update or distribute some best practices across the company. And then moving on to more of the phishing and other concerns for brands. Linking back to Alexander's slides around general wallet setup, picking the right browser extension, and impersonating browser extension, for example, may be a significant threat to employees that are gaining access to a daily wallet or a cold wallet. But when we're thinking about phishing, we tend to split these into two segments. So bad actors that are impersonating wallet companies and bad actors that are impersonating the brand itself. For wallet companies, so impersonation of the likes of MetaMask or Phantom or Coinbase wallets. We need to be thinking about the knowledge to colleagues on those wallets, how to access them, making sure that those browser extensions are legitimate, making sure that they're going through the correct domain names, such as metamask.io, and communicating how to access wallets. So this is linking back to the cybersecurity best practices and engaging with your cybersecurity teams. So there has been some interesting examples of the impersonation of wallet companies. The bad actors tend to target through any means. So we're thinking about social media, SMS or texting, email, paid search ads, so Google ads, infringing Web2 domains, as you can see there. One interesting scenario or interesting example on the right hand side, the use of a fake Twitter profile in the replies of a particular MetaMask issue. creating a deceptive Twitter reply with a Google document that acts as a Trojan horse. Once accessed by the user, it will flood the user's PC, trying to find passwords to access certain wallet addresses, which links back again to these operational best practices, ensuring that these passwords are not stored on PCs, but stored perhaps on clouds or offline. So thinking about the impersonation of brands, I think we can link back to some standard Web2 enforcement, thinking about domain name disputes, such as the UDRP, the Uniform Domain Name Resolution Policy, the Uniform Rapid Suspension Policy, or in the UK, the Dispute Resolution Service. Also thinking about some abuse reports to wallet intermediaries. So these new intermediaries, such as MetaMask, will be willing to block certain sites, reporting to block explorers like Etherscan, Polygon Scan, to flag wallet addresses that are engaging in malicious behavior. Thinking about data release requests as well to these companies. And then also thinking about your targeted jurisdiction. So in the UK, we have the Advertising Standards Agency and the Financial Conduct Authority. Maybe they can assist in these scenarios. So the general theme here is that upskilling employees and also translating those Web2 methods over to Web3. Here are some other good examples of some phishing scenarios. So the Phantom app, there was an infringing paid search impersonating the Phantom genuine organization. You can see there at the top highlighted a confusingly similar domain, imitation paid search, followed by an imitation website with the purpose of gathering sensitive user data. Then on the right hand side you can see the initiatives that MetaMask have put in to block certain web pages and flag issues on the Ethereum blockchain. Yeah, I think that covers that, Alexander. If you
yeah, cheers. That I think is the end of the presentation. So yeah, thanks very much, Tom. And
likewise.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you all found it useful.